Ginger, I'm going to say it. The most famous corgi in the world.
Is that you, buddy?
I know the Queen had them. I mean, I guess they're still around.
Yeah.
But everyone knows his name.
Is that you, Bacon? Yeah, Mr. Bacon?
The king of corgis.
You think so?
I can believe the presence he had when we met him, and when we were at Super Zoo, all these people were crowding around him everywhere he goes, and he is just like so much swagger.
He just knows, I don't know. He definitely commands a room like that. He's always been like that, though. It's crazy.
One of the things that I find extraordinary is every time I call you or I text you, you're in a different part of America, usually, or the world with it.
True. Yeah, usually in the U.S. We stick to the U.S., but yeah.
Like, what is like some of the craziest journeys you guys have been on together?
Oh my gosh. It's funny because, we're getting up into December, and I was thinking like, oh, I should, go back and like think about, like all the places we've done. And I think he's traveled more this year than probably any year. But a lot of the stuff is repeat stuff. We have our things that we do every year. We always go to the Oregon coast in the summer. I lived in Oregon for a little bit. And so since he's my dog, he has to love it. But thank God he does. The Oregon coast is always one of my favorite things. We got to go to Montana this year, Whitefish, Montana. And we stayed at a Clydesdale ranch. And that was one of the most peaceful, beautiful, amazing experiences. We got the aurora over our little cabin. And so those are always fun. And then he gets to do so many cool just partnerships with some of these hotels that have gone all out for him, and some of those have been crazy. So
any luxury hotels?
Yeah. We've done stuff with the Ritz-Carlton. They've been amazing. We've done stuff with the Omni, both in Arizona and then up in Minnesota, which that one's beautiful. And we've done some stuff in Colorado. We did Telluride. There's a gorgeous place there, the Inn at Lost Creek. He's spoiled.
Mm-hmm. How many flights has he been on? Do you know?
I was trying to figure that out the other day because he's a COVID puppy. So I lost my soulmate dog Colton in 2020 to cancer, and he was not supposed to be my dog. My mom and my husband, when we lost Colton, just got him, and I actually didn't want him. He was a terrible puppy, but obviously it was the best thing ever. He's such a good boy now, but didn't start that way. But he was flown out here so during COVID, he's from Cleveland, Ohio, but the flights were like all shutting down during COVID. So this poor dog, they canceled his flight. So he had to drive to Chicago and then fly out here and got stuck like on the way. And so that was his first flight. And then I started flying with him during COVID when he was 4 months old. So I would say we travel a minimum of twice a month, and there's multiple flights there. So I don't know, doing the math, it's hundreds.
Hundreds of flights. It's probably been on more flights than most humans.
Oh yeah. That's the joke. I wish I could get credit for his miles, but yeah, he's definitely been on a ton. And then he also travels with me for work and my real job. So if you count those flights, because a lot of the flights that we take are his things, but yeah, he's definitely a U.S. traveler.
Your real job is a lot less of a happy place than the dog world.
It's definitely different. Yeah, I work in criminal defense, and so yeah, it's definitely a little different world. I do mostly death penalty work, and so definitely a lot different than the happy, smiling, corgi community and dog community.
How does that really let you release and get away from all of that? Because it must be quite a dark place to be working in, and you've got to find the opposite, I guess, when you come home.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's probably why I haven't lost my mind doing the work that I do, because it is even when you get a quote unquote victory in our work, a lot of times a win is that someone is going to get to spend the rest of their life in prison. That's a win. That's like you're popping champagne bottles, and that sounds really depressing and sad, and just the nature of it. It's very there's victims, and it's super sad stuff and super scary cases that are very tragic. And so going into the dog world where you have corgis and doing a lot of the influencer stuff, I've got to meet dogs that aren't just corgis. I do so much locally that is the whole corgi community, and there's such an amazing community, not just in Arizona, but we've got to meet people all over the U.S. But then doing like super zoos and Global Pet Expo, we get to meet, people that are obsessed and crazy like we are with what all the different dog breeds. And it's just those people, it's so happy and fun and exciting, and just everybody is, it's so nice to have that where people don't, in my work, if they hear about the stuff I'm doing with Bacon, they think it's, you know, you had him at a Suns game? What? Like they look at you like you have 4 heads. You know, he has more. What did you just, you're excited about a new necklace he got, like your dog? But in the dog community, everybody thinks it's great. Like they're just as excited. Oh, let me see. Oh my God, I loved your this. So it definitely makes you happy and can take you out of your dark place that you're in for work.
You had a really big part in building the Corgi community.
I think my husband and I did. We like to think that we helped with that quite a bit. I mean, I think people probably all really love their dogs, but what's been so exciting is just the social network that people have built all over the place, not just in Arizona. But yeah, we really started back when my husband's dog, who was supposed to be my dog, her name is Aspen. She just turned 13, and we had her in Colton. And yeah, we started doing a lot of the meetups and getting people together to go on hikes or just do adventures, do these themed parties, because we thought, you know, hey, they're corgis and they're super social and they're fun. And it kind of got really big, and we just met so many fun people that way, and dogs.
So when we arrived in Arizona, we met you straight away. We were at the chiropractors.
Oh yeah.
for Bacon. So you take this guy's health pretty seriously.
100%. I mean, I lost Colton when he was only 7. And so yeah, anything that you can do health-wise, wellness-wise to keep them, happy. Bacon's super active, like more active than any dog I've ever had, any dog my mom has ever had. And, corgis have the long back, and just kind of a history of, just things. They're not really built as aerodynamically for as active as they like to be. They're great herding dogs, but the running, jumping, but it's so good because they can get overweight so easily. And so we want to keep them super active. But yeah, anything that we can do to keep his little back good and keep him doing that for as long as possible, I can't put a price tag on that. So yeah, we do it all.
And you're around so many dog people. Everyone has their own opinions about health, supplements, food, every aspect of a dog's health. How do you come to your own opinions, and how do you look at his health when you are surrounded by so many opinions?
I think it's probably similar to the real work that I do. I don't think there's a cookie cutter, this is how you do it, step 1, 2, 3, and it has to be that way. I think there's certainly things that are very similar, like when you're looking at, how should I approach this with, my dog or my child? He thinks he's my child, and he's not wrong. And so I think you really have to look at it individually, like what, breeds are all different. There's going to be some things that probably inherently are better for this type of breed than another. But, with the health stuff, there's so much out there. And so I think just, talking to, people that maybe live a similar lifestyle to you, or there's, things that you're seeing, like their dog went through this and you want to avoid it, or you're trying to see, hey, their dog went through that and it worked out and everything was fine, so you can talk to them. And then if you have a dog, Bacon is very picky when it comes to food and different things. And so you have to also know your dog in that sense, that while some people can, their dog, corgis tend to be super food motivated. When he was a puppy, he didn't care about food. It was one of the hardest things I ever went through training wise, and probably one of the only benefits of COVID, because I had so much more time, because I was so jealous. Every friend and person I had that had a corgi, they could get their corgi to do anything for a treat. Bacon would look at you like, I don't care. And so just, learning what works for your dog, and then trying to implement a plan and being flexible and knowing that what worked when they were 2 might not work when they're 6, and just being, just like you would with a child, like, okay, we're going to work through this, and relying on people in your community, the corgi community just all over is huge. And, and knowing that it evolves, what was the best thing when Bacon was 6 months old, now there's probably, stuff that comes in that's even better. So just being open to all that and trying a multifaceted approach, because there's certainly not a one size, you just, you can do just this exercise and it's going to be great. Or you can just go to, just do the chiropractor and he'll be fine. No, he still needs to see the vet. He still does all of the other things. So that's what we do.
So obviously you lost Colton at a far too early age, and health was, I guess, dog health in general is something that's super important to you. One thing that we found so amazing was when we agreed to work together, we told you that we were working also with Santa Barbara Humane.
Yes.
And that they were developing a top of the line health clinic with their new facility. And you said
Awesome.
you can just donate all of the proceeds from the sales to them. That's for us when we knew, wow, like you really do care about dogs' health.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they're our kids. And I love that. I mean, it's sad. I don't want to say, oh, I think it's, great that they have all of the, you don't want to envision dogs going through, horrible things like cancer and all of that. But when I was a kid, like my mom is as obsessed with dogs as I am. She does the French bulldog thing, how I got into corgis, I don't know. But, if your dog was diagnosed with cancer, it was just, you were done. There wasn't a whole lot of things. And now I just think it's, not that I wish that on anybody, but I do think it's amazing that there are so many things in place that, it's almost becoming like, people, there's options. And granted, those options aren't for everyone, but at least they're there for those, pet insurance, all the different things that you can do to hopefully, keep your kiddo with you as long as possible. And so, yeah, I think any of that to give people, the ability to hopefully extend and, keep them living happy and healthy is amazing. And I would support any of that.
Yeah. I mean, longevity is certainly what we are striving for.
100%.
Is that why you were sort of so excited to partner with VitaDog?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's great. I mean, you guys are out trying to, do a really, really good thing, trying to, do something that's all in one. And I think it's, it's awesome. And I just love how much you guys are in the community. You're talking to people. It's not just a lot of the brands, the product may be really, really cool and it might be really great, but people would ask, well, oh, do you know who started it or who's behind it? And I think it's always refreshing when the people that are the face of it and are behind it are very accessible and are very nice and are out trying to talk to people and get to know them and educate them. So I think that's cool.
Thank you. We tried to be nice.
And anyone that knows Martin's my friend. Shout out Mad Dogs.
Shout out to Mad Dogs.
We do love Martin.
The problem is I've darted around all the different places. The Rich Carlton and stuff, that was really cool.
You mentioned like things change over time. How have you seen the way that we approach nutrition or like proactive nutrition from, obviously you grew up around dogs your whole life and then dogs have had such a big presence in your life and we're talking about, okay, now cancer is not maybe, it's not a death sentence anymore. And there's things that people can do to be a bit more preventative or look after their dog's longevity. How have you seen nutrition change from when you were a kid till now? I
think the word you just said, proactive, is probably from a personal perspective, the thing that I've seen change the most. When I was a kid, you took your dog to the vet when it was sick. And that was, and obviously you get the shots, but now, and I think nutrition's the same thing. Instead of just, going in and I mean, this was a long time ago when I was a kid, unfortunately. I'm dating myself there. But, you didn't research the ingredients that were, in the food that you were feeding. And I don't mean that in a negative way. You just, your vet said, buy this and you bought that. Or if your dog needed to lose weight, you bought a weight loss food. But you weren't really looking at what fillers were in it and what different, things like that. If maybe you gave your dog a multivitamin, maybe back when I was a kid, but I don't even know that we even did that. I think it was just, your dog was sick, it went to the vet and there wasn't the proactive stuff. Now every year, my girl who's 13, she has to do it every 6 months. We do the blood work we run this big panel and it's expensive, but it's worth it because then you can look and see like, oh, look, this number's a little weird. What can we adjust in their diet? What are they getting too much of? What are they not getting enough of? What is a creative way that you could, maybe fix whatever is looking off in that blood work? Because dogs mask everything way more than people do. You can have a dog that, well, they look fine. Well, yeah, but they're not, and then they have, something really, going on, but they mask it. Other than maybe not him because he's kind of a baby, but so I think that's changed a lot. The proactive approach of not just waiting until there's something wrong or waiting until they turn 10 and you're like, oh, I really should be giving them some type of joint supplement. No, you can do that when they're young. Start it so that you're just giving them the best chance for longevity possible. So I think just being proactive, that was something we didn't, the education wasn't there for it. I don't think it was people being bad pet parents. I just think we didn't know. And so now that now there's just, it's a world out there of things that you can do.
Yeah, we completely agree. And one of the things that I say to a lot of people is, people say all the time, like, my dog's starting to slow down, or are we starting to see them getting older? But a lot of people don't really connect that with it being, there's something wrong internally, and that starts 1 or 2 years before any physical symptoms show up of maybe a little bit of mobility loss. So by that point, it's not too late, because there's always things you can do, but you really need to get ahead of it.
And that's why he goes to the chiropractor. I think I still, and that's a fairly new thing. And obviously, that's for some people and it's not. But, for him, no, he doesn't have an injury. I mean, he hurt his leg 2 years ago, but that, on a beach, but it wasn't an injury that required surgery or anything. But I just noticed from how much he was jumping and running, because we're very, very into agility. We work with Zoom Room and just love them to death. He goes to that 2 to 3 times a week and gets to bring his friends. And I was really worried, like, and I don't know, he doesn't compete in agility. We just do it as a fun, like, wellness thing. And I was worried, am I going to have a dog, in 2 or 3 years that, like, it's just so much on his joints. And so making sure that he is taking supplements and he is doing the thing for that, but also, just, hey, maybe if I start doing this now and have, his chiropractor, make sure that he's, good, then down the road, is that going to give him another year or 2 of being able to do that because he loves it so much? Totally worth it to me. I'm willing to spend the money on that.
We talk a lot about longevity, not just the lifespan, I guess, but also the health span. Why do you, and what's amazing, I suppose, is you have a massive platform of very engaged people who are real dog people in the community. Why do you recommend VitaDog to these people to, I guess, extend their longevity and really hopefully thrive for longer years?
I think it's really neat that it is an all-in-one type of supplement where you're not having to, give multiple, did I remember to do this? Did I remember to put that in? Also for a dog like Bacon, he's very picky. There's some supplements that, he'll take. There's other stuff, having to give him a ton of different things would be difficult. But also he's picky and, the flavor and whatnot, he likes it. And so, it's not fun, you have to be the parent, and that if they don't like it, sometimes, just like a human, if you don't like it, we're going to have to do it. But it is obviously a much more pleasant experience when it's something they actually like. But the all-in-one type of concept, I think, is really, really neat. You don't see that from a lot of, different places. And so I think it's a great concept.
Yeah, it was. I do remember the first time we spoke, you said, well, let's first see if Bacon likes it, because he is the most picky dog that I have ever seen. It's if it's Bacon approved, then we'll go a long way. That's what you said. For
sure, it's a good endorsement. I feel so bad. We go to he goes everywhere with me, and so a lot of the places everything has really, really become so much more dog friendly over the last several years. And so even when you go to a store, you go to, Starbucks or wherever you go, they all have like, oh, can I give him a treat? And in my head, I'm like dreading because I know he's not going to take it. And I feel so bad. And so they're always like, oh, and I'm like, oh, he just ate. He had a big, big breakfast. Let me take it. He's going to eat it later. Because I feel like I look at him like, you're making me look bad. But it's some sweet old lady that like you feel like the worst person because she's so excited to give Bacon a treat. But yeah, he's very picky. And then my other dog, she'd eat all of it. Like Aspen comes in, she's like, what do you have for me? I'll have all of it.
He's just got a refined palate, that's all.
Something like that.
It's hard to go back from VitaDog and caviar at the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah, they treated him right there.
When you have those two things, I mean, what more does a dog want?
Yeah, you're just, I guess we'll call you sophisticated or spoiled.
I think sophisticated suits him.
He likes that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's rolling in like, goose poop, he doesn't look very sophisticated. He loves hurting. And so when we do that, he's disgusting. So it's hard to think of him as sophisticated when I watch him.
Yesterday we got John's story about Aspen rolling in the...
Oh my gosh, when they were in, where were they?
They were
I-
up in
On
the
the way
middle
to
of
Washington.
nowhere, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, it was
a lake.
it was Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
And he literally, oh my God. Yeah, he had
fire
the fire
brigade.
department.
Yeah.
They were like using degreaser stuff on her. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, his worst, we go herding. He loves to herd sheep. And so there's a really, really fun place we go to up in Southern California where the people are so nice because corgis think they're all professional herders, and I'm sure there are some that are really good. We call it herding, but it's more like chasing. But Bacon loves to do that, and then he goes to the smelliest, most disgusting place in the little pen they have them in, and just rolls and and
Is that a
gets it
corgi
everywhere.
thing?
And he stinks so bad after that. So he's not very sophisticated then.
Is that a corgi thing?
The rolling.
Yeah, maybe.
I know a lot of corgis that do it. Bacon's always been like, that's kind of one of our little things on that we in our stories on Instagram that we post a lot. Bacon loves to roll whenever we fly. Usually, even he acts so dramatic. We'll take a 2-hour flight. Sometimes when we're flying like Nashville or New York or somewhere, that's a long flight. I totally get it. But we'll take a 2-hour little rinky-dink flight, and then I have to find a spot in the airport. We get off the plane. He knows he has to wait till we get away from like where all the people are at. Find one of those like empty little gates and then I tell him he can roll, and I undo his leash and he just rolls all over the floor. It's probably dirty, so he's not very sophisticated there, but he loves to roll.
His face is so funny. He knows you're talking about
I'm
it.
ratting you out, dude.
You are.
He's like, Mom.
They're talking about how sophisticated you are, and I'm ratting you out. Yeah.
What can you tell us? Who's the most famous person that Bacon has managed to meet so
The
far?
most famous person.
Because he's been on basketball games and everything, isn't he?
Yeah, we're still trying to. So we do a thing with the Phoenix Suns, and he's Bacon Booker. Devin Booker's my favorite player, and so we've tried. So the one time we were going to meet him, he was hurt, and we didn't get to meet him. So he's met a lot of the Suns players. We did a thing with the Harlem Globetrotters last year, so he met all of them. We're doing it again in February. I'm super excited when they're in Phoenix. He's done a ton of stuff with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have some of the nicest people that work there, and so he's got to be down in the dugout with them. We've done the races with the Cardinals. He just won this year. It was so fun with Little Stumps Racing. And then I'm trying to think. We're doing a thing with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra this year, so he's going to go backstage and get to meet them. He's met a bunch. But our bucket list is Nick Saban for Alabama and Devin Booker, which hopefully that'll happen this year.
There was a story. Did you not get kicked off of the field one time over the basketball pitch or something, because they didn't know you were with him?
Oh my God! Yes, yeah. We yes. He was taking photos with one of the sports teams, and they all knew who he was, and they were being very sweet with him and taking his picture, but I was standing to the side trying to get him to look, and the camera guy was like, "Get that lady, can't be out here, move." And so I was like, wait, and then the marketing lady, who was very nice, came running down. She's like, no, she's his mom, because Bacon was about ready to sprint off because they were about to escort me off.
They thought you were just a random person.
Yeah,
that broke
some
on.
fan. I don't know what they thought it was.
My favorite thing is when you refer to your own job title as not criminal defense attorney, but
Bacon's personal assistant. I got upgraded. I was just there, but now I am his executive personal assistant.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. And his stylist. Yeah. I get to do all those things. That's my favorite job, being Bacon's mom.
creative director.
I want to come back a little bit to some health stuff. And I just wanted to ask if you had a message maybe for your followers to educate them on, I guess, health, and from your past experiences with the dogs that you've had, is there something that you would recommend to them?
I guess it's health and just overall, I get very busy with my other job because it's, serious. But John and I really have made we don't have human kids, we have the dogs, and our kind of pact that we have is that no matter how busy, take the time, even though you're tired, take the walk, take them to the snow, because sorry, I'm going to get what I would have given to have more time with Colton, and I'm so lucky that I have him. It's, if you can, find a way to make it work, give them the best stuff, because, you're going to regret it later. Take all the pictures, do all the adventures, because their time is so short. And that for you, while it's inconvenient, I think it's so worth it because you're going to, get the videos so you can look back. Because I know when I'm having a really bad day in my real job, it definitely helps me out to be able to get on my phone and look like, oh my gosh, last week we went and did this, or to think about the upcoming stuff that you have. So I think, if it's nutrition, if it's vet stuff, it's, run the extra blood panel, do the extra things to make sure that you can put yourself in the position to have them with you as long as possible. And not just have them with you, but have them with you so that they're happy, healthy, and being able to be active and doing the things that they love. Because there's nothing that, it's funny, but I think the things that bring John and I like the most excitement, the most joy are watching them do the things that they love. Like I have people that ask me a lot, well, isn't it hard to travel with him, or do you have hobbies? And I'm like, yeah, they all involve what he does. I love my football and I love basketball, but I've kind of involved him in that. Now you can almost bring your dog into what your hobby is. Now he's a Devin Booker fan, he's an Alabama football fan, but I think any of the stuff you can do, whether it's supplements, whether it's, doing the extra, research that you need to do to get them on the right food, or if you, sometimes dogs, as puppies or even when they're really young, there will be a health condition that sounds like very serious, but if you manage it, you can get some really good quality time, and I don't think you can put a price tag on that. So I would just tell people that it's worth it. It may be hard. It may be, you might have to make some changes in your lifestyle, but it's worth it to be able to get, when you can look at the video of them playing in the snow or them doing the things that they love, it is 100% worth it.
Because you're absolutely right. They might just be a little part of your life, but you're literally all of
their entire life.
You're everything to them. And it reflects so much when we see Bacon and we see Aspen. They are the happiest dogs. They can't wait to be wearing the next jacket, to be going on the next storm chase, to be flying to the next game. They are so excited about it. Oh yeah.
John, Aspen's 13 and she doesn't, to me, because I've seen her since she was a baby, I can tell but other people will not believe that she's 13.
She looks like she's 8.
She catches the Frisbee, her little things. And granted, it's hard because sometimes John has, we live in the real world and you have, obligations and bills that you have to pay and everything. But, there is not a day that he will miss. It doesn't matter what he has going on. If that dog wants to go out and play Frisbee, he's going to go out, he's going to throw the Frisbee for her 3 or 4 times, or however many times she wants, because, and we're very lucky that she's still able to do that, because there's going to come a day when she can't, and that's when you're going to, go, oh my God, I wish that I should have thrown it yesterday for her. So I would just tell people that. And I think it's intuitive, that, but I think just being reminded of it is helpful, because I'll look back, and Colton led a very, very full life in those 7 years, but there's always things where you go, oh, I wish I, had done that. So I would just recommend that to people.
That was his answer yesterday. He said, I think I asked him, what's one thing that you say? And he said, bring a lot of beach towels. And I said, okay. And he said to me, I never want to not let her go for a swim. I never want to let her not go for a run. Every single moment, give them what they deserve every single time. And I thought, do you know what? That's actually such a little thing, but it goes such a long way in their lives.
It doesn't surprise me. That sounds like what he would say.
Yeah.
Because there will be times that I have to remind myself. I think you have to check yourself as a pet parent, that I'll say to him, oh, don't let her go in the water right now. We have to... And he'll look at me and he's like, she's 12, or however old she was at the time. And I'm like, you're right. Okay. Let her go for a quick swim. We can be 5 minutes. We can, let's do it. And I think we really, really try to live by that. And it's hard because we live in the real world and you have your real, life expectations and obligations. But I think those are little things that as pet parents you can do that are going to pay off later, and you're going to be so glad that it was so inconvenient for him to go to Montana this year. My husband, I'm talking about, he with his real job, he's a storm chaser, he really did not have time to make that happen, but he did. And the memories that we got to make there, we're going to look back on that, when we're old, and just go, oh, we're so glad we brought them. I think there's a little Instagram meme, or it's probably on all social media, where it says, I rather have a lifetime of I'm so glad I brought them than, oh, they would have loved this, I wish we had brought them. So I think we really, really try to live by that.
Yeah, you definitely you definitely, it's something that we can see. You try to give them the best of everything and as much of it as you can. And I think you inspire a lot of people on your platforms by doing that.
I hope so. I think, it's just such a fun time to have pets, I think. If you could look historically just now, because there's just so much that's out there. I mean, they're building whole dog bars and dog water parks, and just time, it's a great time to be a dog.
Yeah. I mean, Chris and I, the reason we started this is because we lost dogs early. And when we look back, we think to ourselves a lot of these thoughts. I wish I could have given him this food. I maybe wish I could have taken him out here. I wish I could have done more things. So, it's on the bottom of every packet. It says dog health made easy. And I guess the real message is try and make every moment as good as it can be, the best quality life possible.
100%.
And spend as much time together as you can.
Control what you can control and go all in. And 100%.
Yeah. Ginger, thank you so much.
Worries.
It's been unbelievable. And thank you, Bacon, for being so patient and only barking a little bit.
I think he was starting to get sleepy at the end.
You're not patient.
He's like, I've got another appointment. I've got another calendar. I've got to go.
Don't let anybody accuse you of being patient, huh?
Good.